Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here and welcome to PlayLoad. This is most of my video game pickups for the month of November 2016. I say most because I'm sure a lot of you are aware that Black Friday recently happened, and like most Americans, and I would think a lot of people around the world at this point, I got a lot of stuff, but most of it isn't here yet. So here's the deal. I want to tell you my Black Friday shopping story, even though very little of what I got is in front of me. If you don't care about it, and I do suggest you listen to it because, damn, I got some deals and I'd like to tell you about it. But if you don't care, you can skip to this time code and just see the stuff that's on this table. So there you go. Okay, so you're still with me. Great. Now, Black Friday, again, if you're not aware, is a day after Thanksgiving, which is an American holiday in which we eat a lot. Which is like most American days, but we really try to eat more. Now, I know it has more purpose than that. I'm just being an ass. But yeah, so the day after that, there's Black Friday is like a big sales day where all these stores and retailers sell things for massively cheap. I'm sure a lot of you know this, if not all of you. But what's happened over the years is now the entire weekend, all the way through Monday, has bargains and deals and stuff. And so what I do is I plan ahead, because a lot of these websites and retailers will tell you in advance what's going to be on sale. So I buy a lot of video games through this, of course. And I buy most of my games through Best Buy, the retailer. Best Buy, if you're in Europe, Best Buy is very much like MediaMarkt. It's a very similar thing. Now Best Buy has become, in my opinion, the best place to buy brand new games. For a few different reasons. Most notable is that they have a service you can sign up for called Gamers Club Unlocked. When you have that, you automatically get 20% off of the retail price of a game. So if a game comes out at 60 bucks, you're getting it for $48 day one. They also have this thing called Reward Zone where you earn points based on your purchases. When you reach enough points, you get like gift cards basically. And when you buy video games, you get twice as many points as you normally would. So basically, you get a lot of money off on the front end, and you get a bunch of gift cards on the back end. So you save a lot of money. It's just a smart move. Now, in previous years, Best Buy would allow Gamers Club Unlocked to be stackable with whatever they do on Black Friday. This year, they did not, which sucked. But it's their choice, so it is what it is. So what I did was I figured out everything I wanted in advance based on Best Buy's prices. And I went ahead and I got them. I also looked, of course, at other retailers to see who was going to have more competitive prices on certain items and got those, etc. But one of the cardinal rules, in my opinion, here's a pro tip, is when you do this, when you buy this stuff, you bring it back, you put it in a safe place, you keep it sealed, and you keep the receipt with it. Because that whole weekend, all these retailers go nuts with each other. Like if one company says, hey, I got a game that's usually 60, I'm going to sell it for 30. Maybe somebody else will adjust for it, maybe they won't. But sometimes somebody will be like, fuck, I'll do it for 20. And then other retailers sell it for 20. And then the first retailer will come back, well, now I'm doing it for 15. Like, they go ridiculous with each other. So it's always best to keep stuff sealed, because then it can be easily returned, because you never know when you're going to get the best deal, right? So anyway, so I got all the stuff I wanted for Black Friday. But I kept my eye open for the rest of the weekend just to see what else would happen. And my time came on that Sunday, the 27th of November. Now what happened that day was that Best Buy still had their Black Friday prices in effect for the most part. But they also had this other thing going on that I'd never seen before, which was if you used Visa checkout. Visa's a credit card, and when you're checking out on a website, it'll say like, hey, you want to pay with a credit card, you want to pay with PayPal, it'll have like separate things. There was a third one now specifically for visas and using a software called Visa Checkout. If you did that, you would get $25 off of any purchase of $100 or more. So I looked at what I had purchased from Black Friday, which is not, most of it's not on this table. It's actually in the room behind me. I will save it for next month because I want to finalize what's really going to be around. Anyway, I grouped them together and I was like, okay, here's a $100 block, here's a $100 block, etc. And I figured out like what they're still selling and all that. And I basically rebought them, or I was intending to rebuy them through Best Buy again, but this time using Visa Checkout, so I would get another $25 off. But I was willing to gamble a little bit more, and I waited until about 11 p.m. my time. I live in Chicago, so I'm in the central time zone of the United States. Now, there's only one American time zone that's ahead of us, that's the East Coast time zone. So around 11 o'clock, it becomes midnight on the East Coast, meaning it changes days over there, but it doesn't change days here. When that happens, sometimes these websites, especially with all these sales going on, start getting a little glitchy. And that can be to your advantage. So I was gambling, I had no idea this was going to happen, but I thought possibly it would, and this is what happened. So because of that, Black Friday prices for about an hour, for the most part, not in all cases, for the most part, were still in effect. But now, Gamers Club Unlocked was unlocked. It was going to work. So if a game had been, normally 60 bucks, and for Black Friday they were charging 30, right? Now Gamers Club Unlocked would apply, which would give you 20% off, so now the game's $24. You put that in a cart with a couple other items to add up to $100, you essentially get another 25% off the game. Ipso facto, the game is suddenly $18. And it also applied to pre-orders. So if you followed all that, basically, to summarize, I saved a fuck ton of money by doing all this shit the correct way. And I still have a bunch of, most of that stuff that I've ordered has not arrived yet at the time I make this video. So you guys will see it in December. But you're probably wondering again, well, I thought you said you bought all this stuff at the beginning. I did. The idea is that you get all those things essentially for safety because you don't know what's going to have a better deal later that weekend and what won't. But if it's a price you had agreed to originally, certainly you'll be okay with it and then you find it for cheaper. As long as you keep it sealed, you keep the receipt, you can go back and return the more expensive one and then keep the cheaper one. So you can, if you do this right, man, if you're just willing to put that much effort and thought into it, oh, the amount of money you can save. Oh, fuck, did I save a ton of money. I saved a shit ton of money on games by doing all this. So, well, depending on your perspective, if you don't really like video games, then I just wasted money on garbage as far as you're concerned. But then why are you watching this video? It's a pickups video. Speaking of which, let's move on and let's actually talk about some of the pickups, shall we? This first stack has absolutely nothing to do with Black Friday. This is all original Xbox games. I did very well with the original Xbox this month, but for oddly specific reason. So I was contacted by a guy named Tyler. And he said, hey man, I love the channel and I have a bunch of Xbox games. I know you're going after a bunch of Xbox stuff. I don't want any of this stuff. So if you want it, I'll just send it to you. And I looked at it and he was like, I said, yeah, sure, I'll send it. I'll take it. And I think he had wanted me to he was like, I don't know, can you pick some of them? Because he had a bunch. And I was like, to tell you guys the truth, I just didn't have time. I traveled too much this month. I was not home long enough to even see what I needed, what I didn't need, etc. And so I told him that, and he was like, and I was like, don't worry about shipping it. Just forget about it. It's cool. Just keep them. And he was like, nah, I still want you to have them. And then I was like, well, what city are you in? Because there was a small chance maybe I was going to be near enough to him for one reason or another that I could just pick him up. Or, I don't know. That's what I was grasping at straws. And he said Pittsburgh. And I was like, well, I'm not going to Pittsburgh anytime soon. But then he said, but then I realized, wait a minute, I have a friend who lives in Pittsburgh. My buddy Lucas lives in Pittsburgh. And I asked him if he'd be willing to meet up with my friend and just give him the games, and then I'll sort it out with my buddy Lucas. And he was like, sure, no problem. So he gave his big box of games to my buddy Lucas. And as would happen, Lucas and I would see each other 2 days later in San Francisco for a Ubisoft press event for the game Steep. So I was like, yeah, Lucas, just, I gave him he gave me a long list of the games, and I just kind of took a minute, and I was like, I think I need this, I think I need that, whatever. And then he just grouped them all together in his bag, whatever he could fit, and he just brought them out to San Francisco, and I went out to San Francisco, and we met up, and he gave me the games. And I brought them back here. So thank you to Lucas for being my Xbox mule, and thank you to Tyler for actually hooking me up with these games. So now that you know that story, let's talk about the games that he hooked me up with. The Herbs, Sims in the City. The combo pack for NCAA 2005 football, or football 2005, and Top Spin. This was packed in with the console at one point. World War II Combat Road to Berlin. Group S Challenge. America's Army Rise of a Soldier. NASCAR Thunder 2004. NASCAR 07. Azuric Rise of Parathia. Lord of the Rings The Return of the King. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And Dr. Muto. I remember playing this back in the day. This is definitely a Midway game. It was made by Midway, and you can tell. It just feels like a game Midway would have made. So very cool. So all these games were totally free. Thank you to Tyler for that. You really didn't have to do that, but you know, you did it. And thank you to Lucas again for bringing it out and just doing this weird process where I end up with a bunch of these games. So thank you guys. Moving on, I got some PS4 games here, mostly through Black Friday, but I kind of broke my own rule, you know, because some of these arrived and I was like, ooh, and I just opened them without thinking about, oh, dude, dumbass, don't do that, keep them sealed. So some of them I kind of regret because I did later find them for cheaper and I couldn't do anything about it. But anyway, and then some of them came from like GameFly, so they were cheap to begin with, etc. First one is Mortal Kombat XL. Mortal Kombat X, but with all the DLC, and I'm sure the patches like all built onto the disc, so definitely cool to have that. BioShock, the collection, I actually got this from 2K directly. They sent this to me. I actually went out to San Francisco a few months ago to 2K's headquarters to play this. They brought me out there to check it out, so definitely cool. Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, the Kevin Spacey one. Lego Jurassic World, which I think I owe you guys thank you for this, because I believe last month I showed Lego Jurassic World for the Wii U, and I was like, oh yeah, I have it for the PS4. And then after the video I looked at it, I was like, oh no I don't, I should get that. So I got it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan. And this one I definitely owe you guys for, Ratchet and Clank. I did my videos on the Xbox One, PS4, and Wii U anniversaries, and tons of people were like, well, why the hell don't you have Ratchet and Clank? And you were right, I should have had this. And this was a game that was very cheap throughout the holiday weekend there, so I picked this up. I think I got this for like $7.99 at one point, so I was like, I'm not going to beat that, so I think that's why I opened that one. Moving on, a few Xbox One titles. Got Dead Rising, the remaster here for the Xbox One. I don't know how much they really did to this game. I haven't had enough time to play it to be sure, but I would assume they did a lot. I'm kind of surprised that they did Dead Rising 1 and 2 separately. You'd think they'd put them in like one collection or something, but separate releases, but they're both cheap. This was Target Black Friday, $8. Nice. Crimes and Punishment Sherlock Holmes. Not a game that was even on my radar. I didn't really care about it, but Target had it for $4. It wasn't even a Black Friday thing. It was literally like a clearance bin. It had like that orange or the red sticker on it where they were just trying to get rid of it. And I was like, for $4, I don't even care. That's worth it for the case, you know. But I'm sure the game is decent enough for $4. Recore. This was sent to me by, well, it was sent to my other channel, Game Society Pimps, by Machinima. For review purposes, well, really we make comedy videos, so we don't really review anything, but they gave us the game so that we could do our video, so, and nobody on the team wanted it after that, so I kept it. And here's a prime example of exactly what I was talking about before with all the Black Friday savings. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition for the Xbox One. What happened here, again, it's like a $60 game. Best Buy for Black Friday was only charging $24.99. And then for some reason on that Sunday, they switched it to $19.99, which would have been insane already. But then Gamers Club Unlocked went into effect. So it became $15.99. And then when I put it in the Visa checkout thing, I ended up getting this for like $12 freaking dollars. That's insane when you just get all the pieces to line up like that. Man, bargains. It's bargains. Moving on, also got a bunch of Wii U stuff, which is nice because you guys know I'm trying to get a full Wii U set. This one was something I never thought I would have a hard time finding, but I did. Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. These games are usually not that hard to find. In fact, the Sochi one from the 2014 Wii U release, not hard at all. And with this one, I was like, whatever, it'll be around forever, who cares? I'll just get it later, I'll wait till it's cheaper. And then I thought with this whole Visa thing and stuff, I would like find it now. Best Buy didn't have it anymore, and Amazon didn't have it anymore. And I was like, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, third-party copies of it are expensive. And then out of nowhere, I went to an actual Best Buy, and they had a used copy. So, you know, you're playing with fire a little bit. I really don't like to buy used games at Best Buy, because they do suck at that, because they reseal them, and you have no idea what's inside of them. And if once you open it, you can't return it. So if it's missing a manual or any shit like that, then you're kind of screwed. This one's okay though, everything turned out fine, but ended up getting that, so I was just happy to have that off the list. Just Dance 2016, not a game I particularly care about, but again, full sets. And then I got 3 games here that I'm excited about, but for totally different reasons. I mentioned this in the Wii U video that I think what Nintendo's doing is now that they don't really care as much about the Wii U, they're making it easier for indie devs to make games for the Wii U. So I supported all of these on that basis, like day one, bought them right away. The SteamWorld collection for the Wii U, it consists of SteamWorld Heist and SteamWorld Dig, A Fistful of Dirt. It's basically just 2 games on a collection for the Wii U. Runbow Deluxe Edition. I haven't played it, but the music in this game is awesome. It came with like a little digital voucher so you could download the soundtrack, and I did, because I usually do when it's free. And I usually listen to it for a little bit or whatever, and then I kind of move on, you know, play it in my car or something. This one was like, holy shit, this music's really good! And I've listened to it multiple times now. If you ever played Samba de Amigo, the music is incredibly similar to that. It's just this like really upbeat like party music. And I'm not a music guy. Anybody who knows me personally would tell you I'm musically retarded. I know nothing about music. But I know what I enjoyed. I loved listening to this, so that was fun. I know that's not a review of the game in any way, shape, or form, but the music was sweet. So when you buy it, you get a digital soundtrack for the game. I recommend it on that basis alone. Tumblestone, which is a cool like block, you know, game, puzzle game. Again, basically, I'm just thrilled there's more Wii U titles coming out, especially these indie ones that are more, shall we say, creative. I'm glad that if we're gonna get these end-of-the-line releases for the Wii U, I'm glad it's not just sports crap. I'd rather have indie games like that than sports stuff, so that's cool. Now, I got 2 more games to show you. The games themselves, not the most exciting thing in the world, but they are kind of cool. However, the story about how I got them is what makes them interesting to me. So as I mentioned before, I went out to San Francisco to play Steep with Ubisoft. While I was there, I randomly got an email from them that I had to do a triple take on. And if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, you might already know this, but Ubisoft randomly said to me, hey, do you want to come out to Paris and check out our studio? What? Yes, Paris, France, not Paris, Texas, not Paris, Illinois. Paris, France. They're like, yeah, we'll bring you out, we'll pay for the hotel, we'll pay for your meals, and you get like 5 days here, and you just, one of those days, just come check out the studio. And I was like shit, I would, don't get me wrong, I'd do that for free, obviously. I would just do that. Like if I was in Paris and you're like, Ubisoft would let me come check out their headquarters, or any major game company let me check out their headquarters, of course I would do that. The fact that they were willing to bring me there for that purpose, amazing. So I got to do that. I went out there. I was the only one, because just so you're clear, it's not for this channel that you're watching right now. It has nothing to do with that. They don't even know this channel exists. The thing about, I do another channel, as I mentioned before, Game Society Pimps, where we do like comedy videos and stuff. That's like where we got Recore and Bioshock Collection and stuff. They like the content we do over there, and so they invited pretty much the whole team to come out there. And I was the only one who had a passport and had the schedule to go. Problem with these kind of events, you can call it a problem, is that they're very short notice. They usually only give you like 2 weeks notice at best, and you usually have to respond within like, you know, 48 hours really, maybe 72 hours at the latest, to confirm if you're going or not. And so I'm the most flexible in that ability, so I got to go, but nobody else on my team had the passport or the willingness to go under those conditions. So I went by myself. But as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, my girlfriend lives in Portugal, so I said, hey, do you want to come up and meet me in Paris for a few days? So we did. So we hung out in Paris. It was great. And while we were doing that, you know, I decided I want to see if there's any like retro game stores here. And before I even had a chance to Google that, there was, I'm sorry dude, I can't remember your name, but there was somebody who was on one of my Facebook posts mentioned that I should go to this district in Paris called Republique, or Republic, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. And they said, like, you should go there because it's like French Akihabara. And I was like, okay. And I went. Now, it's not French Akihabara because it doesn't look like Video Game Central, right? It's very just like, it's like just a street, right? But there's like 8 retro game stores there. It's insane. So I'll show you some footage from the exteriors of some of these places. I'm sure you're like thinking like, well, I hope you did like tours and stuff. No, sadly I did not. There was no time for that because, you know, I wanted to go to things like the Eiffel Tower and go to some museums and stuff. Time was relatively limited, so I was able to go to these stores, but I really had to just kind of go in, do some shopping, look around, and then leave. So I didn't have time to film videos in there, I'm sorry. I really wanted to. If I ever get to go back, I would love to do that because some of those stores were just, the inventory in there was just insane, presentation insane. It was just fantastic in those places. But there's also the factor of like language barrier and if they're going to understand why I'm doing this, etc. I mean, I know enough French to just be able to basically politely communicate that I don't speak French, and I hope that you speak English, you know. Bonjour, s'il vous plaît, excusez-moi, je ne parle pas français. Parlez-vous anglais? Bon, you know, like that's about the extent of what I could do. And I'm sure if you actually speak French, hopefully that sounded decent enough to you. It worked when I was there. So yeah, I was able to just, in the time I was there, I ended up picking up 2 games. It's a long story to basically explain. I got 2 OG Xbox games. Now both of them are European exclusives, so I was thrilled to get them off the list. The first one up is Mashed, Fully Loaded. By massive coincidence, this actually turns out to be the British version of the game, and I can tell because the back is entirely in English, which is not usually the case, of course, if it's coming from France. This one happened to just find its way over to France from England, which worked out for me because obviously I don't speak French, as mentioned previously. And then the other one definitely is from France, F1 2002 by EA. The back is entirely in French, which obviously I can't read it, but not really that big of a deal. The front and the side, you know, they're in English. That's good enough. The game itself is in English, I should note. They support multiple languages. Yeah, but F1 2002 was never released in North America on the Xbox. It came out here on the GameCube and I think the PlayStation 2, probably the PlayStation 2. Over here we got F1 2001 on the Xbox, but not 2002. It was only in Europe for whatever reason. So definitely cool to get a couple of OG Xbox exclusives off the list out of the suddenly out of nowhere trip to Europe. So that was great. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for now. I'll show you the Black Friday stuff when December rolls around. Thank you very much to Tyler and to my buddy Lucas for helping to do that. Thank you to 2K, thank you to Ubisoft, and just thank you guys for watching. Also thanks for Machinima for Recore. Again, none of them even watch this, but I was raised to be polite, I guess. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all later.